Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ndjido Kane, Director of the Regional Center of Excellence on Dryland Crops of the Senegalese Institute for Agricultural Research, ISRA, and I'm going to present to you CIWA, Crop Innovation in West Africa. CIWA aims to modernize our breeding pipeline to accelerate genetic gain and crop development that meet demand and contribute to development, which is aligned with Feed the Future and ILCI vision, aiming at the development of improved variety for key product profile that underpin economic growth, resilience, and nutrient developmental goals. Together, we trust that NAS, like ISRA, could drive innovative agriculture investment that breaks the poverty and hunger cycle in West Africa. The rationale behind CIWA revolves around the opportunity to make very significant yield gain in farmers' field, to take advantage of our availability and affordability of tool technology and methodologies, and to utilize well-defined product profile to drive the development of new variety that reflect consumer demand and various end-use quality, as well as serving the needs of smallholder farmers and local value chain. ISRA has benefited of the West Africa Agricultural Productivity Program. It was a 10-year program like 9 other Western Africa NAFs to entrust specific targeted crops to lead and to evolve from a national center of specialization to a regional center of excellence following ECOWAS criteria. The aim was to innovate, disseminate, and ease the adoption of technologies, as here represented by the arrows. You can see that all the technology sharing between countries. This program also had contributed to address youth employment, women inclusion, and resilience to climate change, to strengthen human and institutional capacity in West Africa, and to pave the condition for regional collaboration. The Innovation and Crop Improvement in West Africa network, shortened by YAVAWO here, regroups breeders from NAS program. Since 2015, they assess annually pooled genetic material according to standardized phenotyping methods and a unique repository breeding management system, BMS, and they gather twice a year to share their results with stakeholders, from seed producer to processor and dealers. I will co-lead the project with Mrs. Maremnian Belko, agronomist and gender focal point. By hosting CIWA at ISRA Seras in Senegal, the scope of CIWA builds on the regional approach hunted by ILCI to accelerate crop improvement and dissemination across West Africa towards the stakeholders, farmers, beneficiary. The affiliated countries are Niger and Burkina Faso, and the targeted crops are sorghum, millet, and cowpea. They are mandated crops for ISRA from ECOWAS. The three crops are well adapted to the environment and constitute staple food for population. Therefore, the productivity gain will underpin nutritional and food security, resilience, and economic growth, particularly for vulnerable groups. The first objective of CIWA is to update existing breeding product profile, BPPs. Master students, gender experts, breeders, stakeholders, and socioeconomists will weigh to the balance to help understand factors and preference of adoption as well as market accessibility. To deploy updated breeding product profile in pipelines and accelerate new variety development, traits related to productivity, nutrition, and resilience will first be targeted. Some other traits showing higher priorities or needs will also be inserted in the BPPs. Further, tested TTMs will be applied to those for rapid variety development. The second objective is to implement modern TTMs for rapid discovery and validation of traits and diagnostic markers for genetic gain and product concept development. Targeted TTMs are gene and QTL sequencing, forward selection, GWAS, QTL mapping, and we're going to use also the Go High approach. We will test the haploid induction and tissue regeneration in millet and sorghum. Crops and traits. In sorghum, we're going to target photoperiodism, protein digestibility, and green mold. In millet, drought tolerance and higher nutrient content will be targeted. In cowpea, maturity, seed size, and striker resistance will be our trait of interest. The objective 3 is to use genomic selection and whole genome prediction of crop breeding value. They show huge potential to explore and increase the genetic gain per selection in a breeding scene per unit timeline. They are economical and viable alternative to marker-assisted selection and phenotypic assessment for quantitative traits. Key advantage is that decision on selection can be made during the off-season, leading to crop improvement in genetic gain on an annual basis. By designing efficient training population with both genetic and phenotypic data, the genomic estimation breeding value of a testing population that have only genomic data could be predicted by utilizing genome-wide high-throughput DNA markers that are in LG with QTL of interest. Various whole genome prediction models are being developed and optimized in crops. For example, at ILCI partner in CIWA, a model was used to predict grain yield for test cross and for hybrid in the performance of polymer grain yield, early and late drought stress tolerance, and across various environments. Areas of inquiries like trait discovery and genomic selection also successfully deploy the practical haplotype graph in sorghum. The objective 4 is to routinely use aerial visual and underground phenotypic techniques like chevalomix show, root trait screening methods for drought tolerance like laser ablation tomography, coupled with deep learning algorithms that we are developing at CERAS in collaboration with the University of Nottingham and Penn State University. Micronutrient contents, grain quality, and further digestibility of varieties that we are being developed under CIWA will be assessed with near-infrared spectrometry and X-ray fluorescence platform available at CERAS. ISRA CERAS is also hosting the integrated breeding platform hub to foster the use of the BMS, currently used by sorghum, millet, and cowpea breeders in different national programs. Electronic data capture and management are critical stepping stones in breeding and crop improvement. An integrated analytic pipeline is allowing breeders to digitalize and track their activities using electronic data capture tablets, and to conduct effective analysis, sharing, interpretation, and use of the data. Data management at each NAS is conducted on an institutional BMS instance stored in the cloud. A regional BMS instance have also been implemented to manage regional trials, testing, and store data collected from common materials evaluated at different locations. Although the digitalization of breeding programs in the region is moving ahead well with the support of the IBP, some further support for adoption is necessary to bring all programs to the same level of adoption and to reach the routine use of the BMS. The objective here will be to develop, test, and deploy new functionality and new apps like the BACKGROUNG API for data capture and analysis. CIWA cross-cutting activities will address the question how women and youth participate or decide in and benefit from two main nodes of the crop value chain, production and processing. This will consist of understanding and addressing gaps in the knowledge regarding their participation and decision-making process in seed system and the benefit of improved variety and processing opportunities, helping breeders to integrate gender and resilient nutrition in their BPPs, and last, empowering early career research, female and youth, and breeders and stakeholder farmers. As Center of Innovation, CIWA's strategy aims at modernizing breeding pipelines and accelerating variety development. Implementation will be by early career researchers mentored by established multidisciplinary scientists within partner institutions. Obeying to a demand-led breeding approach, defined product profile will be used to direct research activities and to refine the priority traits identified in BPPs, with gender, nutrition traits, and resilient consideration. CIWA will benefit of the Irish for scaling up of TTMs and of innovation in crop improvement, as this hub tackles developmental challenge in innovative ways with increased reach of result. This table summarizes the planning activities for next year. On the left column you have the task, and on the right column you have the third task. We're going to collect qualitative data to identify the needs of vulnerable groups, especially women and youth, in the breeding product profile. We're going to also deploy some traits and markers for sorghum, millet, and cowpea in our breeding product profiles. We're going to start the GS prediction models in sorghum and millet. We're going to also screen advanced lines that are in the breeding product profile and also in breeding pipelines in Western Central Africa. And we're going to develop also new functionality for the BMS to help advance and digitalize the breeding pipelines. So CIWA will therefore complement and reinforce ISRA-CERA's currently designed Center of Excellence for ECOWAS. In particular, CIWA will enhance the use of TTMs, the implementation of gender-appropriate approach, and address the issue of youth employment and job creation in West Africa. Inclusive and participatory approach will be used to feed information, sex and age consideration, and bridge to ensure that prioritized product concept integrate gender, nutrition, and resilience in breeding pipelines. Community engagement and of early career researchers, mentoring by West-established scientists will support a self-reliance and addressing cross-cutting theme in application in NAS research and training activities. ISRA will partner with National Agri-Food Processing Institution, ITA, West Africa NAS in Rwanda in Niger, and INERA in Burkina Faso. ICUSAT Niger, French institution CIRAD and IRD, Integrated Breeding Platform, and Kansas State University. Great thanks to the US government partners in ILCI, to the Feed the Future program, and to you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Ndjido, for that presentation. At this time, I'm going to open up to the audience for questions. Ndjido, you can also unmute yourself and turn on your video. Thanks. Questions for Ndjido. While we are waiting for questions, then I'm going to ask a question. And what are your asks from ILCI's area of inquiry leaders or the objective leaders?
Yes, thank you very much for your questions and attention. We are right now working with the area of inquiry, especially the cross-cutting team and also the priority setting. I think we have a meeting tomorrow, Thursday morning. So we are working to validate and also defining more clearly the cross-cutting research activities, how they are linked with the breeding product profile. So another probably immediate need is probably after this meeting, we're going to reach out to the Agricoles team also to work also with other center of innovation like Gael for the genomic selection activities that we propose. So these are two activities that we plan to do this month. Back to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Ndjido. I'm going to ask a question, or I'm going to have Dave has a question. Please unmute yourself and ask the question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And again, very good presentation. And I may have missed it, but as I looked through things you're planning to do, I didn't see a lot in there about efforts you're doing to put in quality assurance, quality control, whether it's managing samples, tracking samples, or whether it's operations in the field. Do you feel that that's just all built into your plans, and do you feel that that's going really well, or do you think you have some challenges there?
Yes, both. There's some ongoing work that we are using in our pipelines, QC panel controls, and tracking of samples and phenotyping work. But we do have also some to implement. For sorghum, we have some traits, markers, and QC panels that we can use. For cowpea, also we have those panels and markers. For millet, we need to implement in our pipeline. Yes, to your question, some will be already being used in our pipeline. Some others will need to be implemented. So it's in the plan. It's very difficult in the presentation to highlight everything, but yes, to your question, we will do that.
Okay, thanks.
Next question, I'm gonna take a question from Joe. Joe, please can you unmute yourself and ask the question to Ndjido, and then we'll take Dee's question.
Thanks, and thank you for your presentation. I know sorghum is a really important crop in Senegal, and it'll be exciting to see the seed from some of these new varieties get to farmers. But what is your strategy for delivering seed to farmers in Senegal? Are you in touch with any private seed companies or public agencies that deliver seed to farmers?
Thank you very much, Joe. We already have experience of seed release, and we would like to increase also the scaling up of the use of these seeds. So right now we are so far working with farmers organizations and who are adopting those seeds and also using them. We do recognize that there is some work to be done with the private sector, but in West Africa, the private sector food seed production is still, to be, reinforced. That's the one aim that we would like to reach in this CIWA project. So we hope that CIWA will help us with other initiatives to bring the private sector more interest in using our technologies. So we will work on it for millet, for cowpea, and also for sorghum.
Thanks.
Dee, please, can you ask your question? Thank you, Joe and Ndjido.
Sure. Hi to Ndjido and Mariam. It was really great to see the continued thinking that you're doing on the cross-cutting themes. And I just wanted to call out your slide towards the end of the presentation where you have some very big goals mentioned about increasing empowerment and incomes for vulnerable groups and increasing competitiveness across the 3 value chains that you're working on. And I'd like to hear a little more about how you're planning to monitor your progress towards achieving those goals across the life of the project. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Deborah. I will answer your question by saying that the 3 crops that we target, sorghum, millet, and cowpea, they have a huge potential for vulnerable groups, especially women and youth, right now in their value chains. And we do believe that if we use the TTMs in our breeding program, that we accelerate the development of new, well-performed varieties, they will have the benefit of the use of those varieties. And this have been proven previously when we developed the cowpea varieties and also the sorghum that did not contain tannins. So those was like success stories where we would like to build on to try to see how CIWA will contribute to those, like you say, like big, big expectation. Yes, probably it's ambitious, but we do believe that because of the role of these crops in the value chain as the staple foods and also used by most of the vulnerable groups, we do believe that any innovation that is adopted by those groups will help to increase, this expectation. Yes, this is our expectation also. I hope I answer your question.
Thank you, Ndjido. I would suggest that we continue this conversation in the chat room. And for those who won't be able to take their questions live, please go to the chat room and type your questions and we'll try as much as possible to respond to them. Thank you. We're going to move right on to the next presentation, and that is from Malawi and Michael Chipeta. Thank you.